We are truly a national conference in 10 states, 4 time zones. And all eyes are now on the Big 12 for all the right reasons. And I think it's safe to say we are more relevant now than ever before.
Bold statements by the Big 12 commissioner, that Brett Yormark. I got to give it to him. He is innovative. He's very bullish and in the most positive way. You lose Texas and Oklahoma, 2 programs, storied programs, and programs who win a lot of championships on the national level, and 2 programs which have brands which really sell not only nationally, but are recognized globally. Brett Yormark has done a phenomenal job in this modern era of collegiate athletics. This was the first Big 12 football media days, just wrapped up in Las Vegas, bringing the Big 12 brand, which is across the country now, 16 programs. And I want to say this, not a lot of people will agree with me. Big 12, the Big 12 conference is going to survive and will flourish in what is now Power 4 conferences. Big 12 football media days. Let's talk about it.
Good to see you here. I need a little more energy if you want some energy from me, because this is horrible. If I was in church, I'd get up and walk out right now.
Absolutely hilarious. Prime time in his second season as the head football coach of the Colorado Buffaloes. He is a guy that brings a lot of attention for his accomplishments as when he was at Florida State to what he did as prime time, the brand there, Coach Prime, and what he was as a defensive back in the NFL. I am Sean Clench, the host of Stories Inside the Man Cave podcast. Let's talk about it. Big 12 football media days. And, you know, none of this occurs, these episodes, without our sponsors, and 2 of which will begin on your left. Shoal Creek Saloon. Man, you could have some of the best Louisiana delights year-round at Shoal Creek Saloon, and nothing beats that porch overlooking Shoal Creek. It's a beautiful ATX original, and Honest Plumbing and Air had a name change with a new ownership group next to last year, but same great service, and Honest Plumbing and Air, where a handshake still means something. Hey, be sure to like us on all of our social media platforms. We're there on every platform imaginable. Now, the media's preseason poll of Big 12 football, well, it was released last week. The media did pick the Utah Utes, solid pick, to win the championship of this newly formed, renovated, if you will, and just a new conference without Texas and Oklahoma. The Utes, a good solid pick, Kansas State and Oklahoma State below them. But Colorado, Deion Sanders, Stevie Lee and I talked about this on our last episode of the Pass Rush with Stevie Lee, that there is some respect for Colorado being picked 11th out of 16th. You know, they had quite a few freshmen and newcomers playing last year up in Boulder. And, you know, they had a good start, but they were brought down to earth as they dove into that Pac-12 conference that schedule they were in last year. But Deion Sanders knows how to sell. He knows how to sell, and he knows how to I feel like he knows how to recruit. And he is acclimating like every coach in America is. They're adapting to the transfer portal and how to navigate the name, image, and likeness, and all the money that is now available to these, quote, student athletes. And, you know, both the portal and the NIL, I'm all for. It doesn't matter what my opinion is, but one thing, if you look at Deion Sanders, what he has done and what he did in his first ever Big 12 media days is really connect. And he has connected well. And he gave a shout out to basically all the Big 12 coaches when it was his time to take the stage.
Coach Gundy is a darn legend. So being at the Big 12 meetings and getting a chance to meet a multitude of these head coaches that have just welcomed me with open arms, they have been phenomenal. And Joey McGuire, my son, Junior. Where you at, Junior? well-off media. He played for Coach McGuire in high school. And Joey has been the same consistent, great coach that he's always been. Joey, if you're out there, I love you. I appreciate you. You keep on doing what you do. Except when we come to play you, I want you to keep on doing your thing.
That was genuine. I've only met him twice, and I only interviewed him once in my entire 21 years when I was back in the media. He really does care about his kids, and he's a great father from all the indications. Played at Cedar, when Joey McGuire was a high school coach in Cedar Hill, and in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Obviously, the connection was made there. But when you look at Colorado, they're only going to get better. What is better, though? I mean, the Big 12. Last year, the Pac-12 was surprisingly a good league. A lot of people thought it would be weak. It was not. But as far as Colorado, look for a significant leap, 4 to 5 wins, in addition to what they achieved, 7 or 8 wins, I think is a marked success in Boulder. And one of the coaches that he mentioned right off, he called Mike Gundy a legend, which he is. Mike Gundy, I'm a man, I'm 40, back in 2007. I was there for that. I'm still shocked after a big win over Texas Tech. But Gundy was presented a question, and you've heard it. The nation's top, the leading rusher in the country last year, Ollie Gordon, tremendous running back. Texas pretty much shut him down, denied him in the Big 12 championship game last year. He was arrested on suspicion of a DUI recently. And Mike Gundy brought him to Big 12 Media Days.
Ollie's doing fine. I've visited with him multiple times over the last week. Be quite honest with you, yesterday we had another hour conversation, and it was really the first time that he smiled. I think that it affected him like it would most people. We brought him here today so you guys could ask him that question. That was one of the reasons that I wanted to bring him here.
So I don't find a problem in that. I feel like as you grow up and from a teenager to a young adult, that this is a good opportunity, especially being Ollie Gordon, what he has, all eyes are on him across the country as either a Heisman Trophy candidate, a leader of Oklahoma State. And, in this situation, I'm not going to say for everybody, but we have all made errors in judgment. So I agree with Mike Gundy. And there were some comments that he made that were, in my opinion, were misconstrued. You bring one of your leaders to face the music, so to speak. And I thought it was a great decision by Mike Gundy to do that. We have all made decisions when we were younger, and even now as adults, we're human. We make errors in judgment. In this case now, like for me, I am a big supporter of Uber. 100%. I think Mike Gundy this is a great opportunity for them to take over the league, so to speak, in the absence of Oklahoma and Texas. Mike Gundy, very consistent, great program in Stillwater, Oklahoma. It resonates, and he's there. They're adapting to the NIL world, just like all the programs are. It's a new landscape. Now, another guy that you heard Deion Sanders mention, Joey McGuire. And I thought Joey McGuire is showing his personality, and you see why. So he was such a good coach at the high school level as an assistant at Baylor. And now you see why people and kids are going to Lubbock to play for him. He is a player's coach, and his personality, number one, is one of the main reasons. And here he is. He's talking about a question that he received from one of his old linemen that was part of the core of Red Raiders who made the appearance to represent Tech in Las Vegas.
How you doing? So you've had some guys speak very highly about you today when it comes to your energy and, embodying that. So how do you give that away to your players? How do you allow them to just be themselves at all times and, be just like you?
Well, Caleb, it's great to see you today. Thank you for that question. That's my starting right guard. Caleb Rogers started 42 college football games. I'm glad that he decided to come back. I think the biggest thing that as coaches, we put so much stress on our young men. This is a tough game. It's a full-time job. It's 24/7 being a student athlete. And so if you're not consistent, if they don't see the same guy every single day whenever they walk into the building, then it puts a lot of pressure on them. What they're going to see whenever they come into the building with me is I'm fired up to see them. I'm always going to smile. I want the best part of their day to be when they walk into our football facility. And then I think it's hard whenever you try to put parameters or conform people and not let them be who they're supposed to be. And, I think it kind of stunts their growth as men. I think you've got to help them become that guy, but I think you also got to let them be who they are.
I love that. And that is a coach who has acclimated and learned about young people, because all of my coaching friends in every sport, I pretty much had the same conversation with them. The kids haven't changed. We all talk about generations do change, and that's a fact. I'm different from what my parents were my age when I was a teenager in 20 or in the 20s. And my group of friends, their kids it's just different. But the one thing kids want, they want discipline, but they also want authority figures, and in this case, coaches, to adapt to them. I mean, go back to Mac Brown when he was the head coach at Texas. And a good example is when Vince Young was on that roster. Mac Brown changed as a coach when he learned to let the kids be kids, and the players loved Mac Brown. He was a player's coach, and let players be who they are. And that could be implemented, applied to just in the professional business world. Allow people to be who they are, and you get productivity that way. Well, Joey McGuire has one of the nation's top running backs. I'm a big fan of this kid, Tahj Brooks. He is on the brink of potentially becoming the all-time leading rusher or career, at Texas Tech. And he's up for so many national awards, including the Heisman Trophy. And brilliant marketing strategy by Texas Tech Sports Information Department. They created a website called It's Tahj Time. He's from the Austin area, Manor, Texas. Great running back for the Manor Mustangs. Great kid, great family, and he has been a joy to watch. I mean, it's almost like one of my own, or like a little brother, just enjoying watching his success, because every ounce of success that Tahj Brooks has experienced, he deserves, because he has put forth the time and effort, not only as the athlete, but the human being, man. And he is every bit of NIL, every bit of success and praise is because he walks the walk, talks the talk, walks the walk. And he is definitely one of those guys. If I had a son, I would want him to be like. But look at this. They created Texas Tech did this, created a poker chip because they're in Vegas with his picture on it. And he's going around handing it out to people while at Big 12 Media Days. And it has a QR code on it. You scan it, you know what, and you watch it. And you can vote for Tahj to be not only a candidate, but follow along his journey as he's entering his final season. But this is Tahj handing out a poker chip to one of his former quarterbacks.
To that, but I'm glad to be out there.
How has your game changed this last year? Like, how have you gotten better all that year?
Yeah, it's fine. This is right here. You know what I mean? I got you, bro.
Alan Bowman, former quarterback at Texas Tech, now a quarterback, I believe, in his 7th season in Stillwater for Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State. But I could go on more about Tahj Brooks. I hope that he is one of the finalists on that stage for the Heisman Trophy in December. But going back to Joey McGuire, I think here's the 31 seconds of Joey McGuire talking about his running back, Tahj Brooks.
Tahj Brooks, somebody asked me earlier, and this is going to sound funny, but, he's kind of the security blanket. Like whenever chaos is going on and a lot of things are happening in the game. We've been through some injuries at quarterback. He's the guy that's there and is steady. He's the same guy every day. He's an absolutely incredible teammate. And we're 1,167 yards away from tying Hanspard's record, and we're 1,168 away from breaking it. And our plan is to break it.
That's amazing. And Tahj Brooks has 3,052 career rushing yards. That's great at any program for a career but even more so impressive, he's got one more season. God willing, he stays injury-free. Byron Hanspard ran the rock at Tech. He was a great running back, by the way. Texas Tech has had some phenomenal running backs over the years, even during the run and shoot years. Or the spread offense years with Mike Leach, the late great Mike Leach. Byron Hanspard has 4,219 career rushing yards at Texas Tech. Tahj is sitting at 3,052. Do the math. He's capable, because if I did my math right, he had over 1,500 yards last year. He's capable. And with that offensive line, I think that Tech has developed. I mean, even had an impressive run. Texas put it on Tech last year in Austin. But even during that, Tahj broke off on one of the more impressive runs I've seen. And it was all him. All him, muscle. And you talk about it, he is that guy that Texas Tech leans on, as Coach McGuire mentioned. Now, as far as TCU, played for the national championship 2 seasons ago and then had a losing season. And I'm a big fan of Sonny Dykes. I really am. But for them to get back to where they were, I think they're going to do it, because they've made some great, not only good recruiting, but they've made some key acquisitions in the transfer portal, because that's the name of this game. But when you hear Sonny Dykes talk about the Big 12, over the last few years, parity, top to bottom, and the depth of it. I mean, we always talk about the SEC, and rightfully so, Big Ten, and rightfully so. But really, I think the Big 12 deserves more.
What makes the Big 12 unique is parity. If you look at the Big Ten, you look at the SEC, you look at the ACC, the same teams have represented those leagues year in, year out in the conference championship games. In the last 3 years, 6 different Big 12s have been in the 6 different Big 12 teams have been in the championship game. So I think right there, that speaks to the parity of the league.
You'd like to think that Baylor, which 2 seasons ago won the conference and won the Sugar Bowl 12-2, but fell off deeply. I mean, 3 years ago. So 6-7 and 3-9 years. And last year they were absolutely awful in many categories. And it's hard to understand that. But in the off season, Dave Aranda, the head coach, made some significant moves with his staff, really went after it in the portal with transfers, and the Baylor boosters and fans have really jumped on board of NIL with the collective. And one key acquisition that I think is big for them in their offense is an alumni of Stories Inside the Man Cave, that being Jake Spavital. Offensive genius, was once the head coach of Texas State, has really done some great things offensively. He is a genius and a quarterback developer. And Dave Aranda spoke on that, about the addition of Spav to his staff.
And add to confidence in offense. And I think the ability to bring people in that fit that can play in space, that have the ability to play slot, the ability to play on a number 1 receiver, either the Z or X, but be a matchup problem, could be a tight end type body. I think those are all things that we're able to address in the portal to help the offense.
And he's talking about the type of guys that they need to run Spavital's offense effectively. and it is a brilliant offense. It's very much off of the Hal Mumme and Mike Leach coaching tree. And honestly, I always like talking about this. When I was a senior in high school, we had Ray Dowdy came in and took over the Anderson Trojans program, and his offensive coordinator, Larry Adair. We were kind of ahead of our time. We just didn't have enough of the talent, but it was spread out people, and you run your route according to how the DBs line up. And obviously on the right side, you have 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 as far as quadrant or squares on the field. On the other side, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. You read your coverage as a receiver in front of you, and you adjust your route accordingly, and the quarterback reads it as well. And as you have repetitions, and that's what David Aranda's talking about, as these quarterback and the receivers get on the same page, Spavital is a genius at coaching that and really giving more freedom to the players, that being the receivers, running backs, and those tight ends who can play the flex positions. Baylor should have a great offense this year. I mean, it really should, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun to watch because you do have a guy like Jake Spavital developing these guys. Longhorn fans, you remember Cameron Rising. Cam Rising, he was Tom Herman, one of those many quarterbacks that he brought onto the 40 acres for Texas, and namely the 2018 season. He was on that roster. He transferred to Utah. He's had some injuries. Great physical quarterback, good arm, and he potentially could be on a NFL roster this time next year. Well, he was injured last year, part of the season, and he is loved and in Salt Lake City for the Utes. And they are a team, and he's playing for a team that could not only win the Big 12, but could be and very well could be playing in the CFP, the expanded CFP. Well, he's learned quickly the rivalry, the big rivalry in the state of Utah, that being Utah and Brigham.
I just don't really like BYU.
Jeez, this is normal. This is normal.
I feel like I'm definitely the red part of Utah that is the good side, I'd say. But
I don't know why people have a problem with that. Like, it's okay for you to say that.
That's what makes it great.
Yeah. I don't like seeing the Y anywhere. I don't really care for it. Yeah, it's definitely a rivalry.
Cam Rising, he stayed true to who he is, and he's now. You love to see a guy leave a program and succeed. He's done that, and obviously loving it and embracing the rivalry there between BYU and Utah. We're going to take a quick break and give a shout out to our friends at Shoal Creek Saloon. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Sean Clinch, the host of Stories Inside the Man Cave podcast, and this episode is brought to you by our friends at Shoal Creek Saloon, your unofficial home to UT men's and women's basketball. What I wouldn't do for a bowl of that amazing gumbo on the porch with a cold beverage at Shoal Creek Saloon. And you can watch any sport. It's not just limited to UT men's and women's basketball. They've got Astros, Rangers, and it'd be a great place to watch a football game in this college football season, including the SEC now, because that is also the home to LSU. And a lot of Texas Longhorn fans, I encourage you to go to Shoal Creek Saloon and watch games this year. But SEC almost said Big 12. Big 12 Media Days done. SEC Media Days next week in Dallas at the Omni Hotel. It all begins early next week, and that will be fun. Texas and OU, first year. They don't have to go far in Dallas for SEC Media Days, and we'll have it all covered here as well on Stories Inside the Man Cave. This is perhaps the longest edition of Let's Talk About It. These are usually from anywhere from 4 to 5 minutes to maybe 15 minutes. Made an exception to get all the Big 12 football media days in. And you know what? When in doubt, when college football is being discussed, or are there any debates, whether it's Big 12 or SEC, It's always good to talk about it.